How's it going, world? It's your boy, Jamie the Motivator. I am here again on the Too Crowded podcast. I'm here with another special guest, Shana Rivers. This is one of my mentors. Her husband is one of my mentors as well, so this is kind of bringing it full circle for me. But I've been able to see this young lady grow over the years, go from corporate America to going over to entrepreneurship and starting a business within that business and then taking over that industry. So I wanted to bring her here today. I wanted them, men and women, to be inspired by what she has done. So without further ado, I'm here with Shana. How you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So this is where we get intimate and just kind of talk about the behind the scenes of success.
Okay.
Who you are, and tell us a little bit about your industry.
So I am, I'm looking at you, right?
Yeah,
I'm
you're
looking
good.
looking at you.
You're good.
So yes, I'm Shana Rivers. I'm a real estate agent. I am a broker, and I am a mother, and I am a wife.
Absolutely.
I'm also a youth leader.
Absolutely.
So that is who I am. That is a little bit of what I do all the time.
Absolutely. So
I
you're
get to
always super
10
woman.
hats
Always, yeah.
every day, all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you balance all of that mixed in with business?
Honestly, I don't think that there's ever a real balance.
That's a good
You
answer.
just have to make it do what it do when
Absolutely.
it comes, right? So like you can I hear people say, you balance work, I just feel like as the day comes, keep my calendar going, make sure I make the most important events, the priorities. My kids will always come first above my business. My husband will always come first above my business. So that would be how I manage my schedule. Those things come first, clients, everyone else comes second. What they have to think about me is way more important than the dollar that these people are going to bring me.
Of course.
And the people that can't understand that, they're not my clients.
That's big. So you kind of have made a standard starting off there where I'm not going to be controlled by the market. I'm going to be controlled by what matters to me most.
What's most important? So I know that when I left corporate America, that this is something the Lord promised that he would keep me in this business because I was frightened. I was frightened to become an entrepreneur. It was like, oh my God, just commission based.
Correct.
But really, when I just let go and I let my faith run the show, he has definitely shown out and shown that he can do more than I ever thought, or imagined. So one thing for me is just making sure my family is happy. And one thing, Pastor Shelley told us is like, if your family hates to see you coming, or everyone else is speaking well of you, but your family is like, I never wanted my kids to say, you're always working, you're always this. No, I'm going to be at every game, everything you have going on, every school event, that's the priority.
Yeah, it makes you question your success.
Absolutely.
So you have a unique story because I know you was in corporate America for so many years. And I looked up one year you was owning your own business. So how did that, what sparked that, and what was that first year like?
So as a real estate agent, you are an entrepreneur. That's your own business. But many agents get into the industry not having that comprehension that it's your own business, right? They're literally like looking for someone to be the secret sauce. Well, you are your own secret sauce, right? So I was at my job, my corporate job. I worked in a dental lab I was an executive assistant to the owners and to the HR director. Love them, love all the people that I was around every day, but there was a ceiling. Mm-hmm. And I literally was like, okay, if I stay here, where's my growth? I knew for me that being in corporate America wasn't my thing. I mean, every review, I was insubordinate. We love her personality, but she won't sit at her desk. She won't do the things we want her to do the way we want her to do them. So immediately I decided, I'm going to get my real estate license. I knew I love people. I always dealt with customer care, and I love real estate. My mom she is an interior designer. We always grew up in houses. I grew up in Cali, so we saw the houses on the hills,
Correct.
The Malibu, like all the stuff they're doing here now. We've been seeing those modern homes. But I can remember getting my license, and for 2 years, I still sat in corporate. And I was literally like afraid, and my husband would be like, what are you doing? Why, you had a couple of closings, go ahead and save it, go. Yeah. And I could just remember sitting in my car on my lunch break in prayer. And the Lord literally told me, get up and go give your 2 weeks. And I'm like, me? No. And we were having a conversation kind of back and forth, and I'm just like, all right, like, you got me? I got you if you go. I got you if you go.
Right.
And I literally was in tears. I got out of my car. I went to my boss's office, and I said, I have to talk to you. And she's like, what happened? Did somebody die? Like, what is going on? And I was like, I'm giving you my 2 weeks. She's like, okay, good. You know,
yeah.
That's good. What's the drama? You know, but it was just in me. It was a fear to move forward. Yeah, and it was a fear that maybe they won't want to use me. Maybe nobody will come and want to buy a house with me. But the funny thing is when I actually started real estate school, I walked into the office and I was like, hi, you know, I'm signing up to, you know, be a real estate agent or whatever. But I literally came in and said, I'm here to be a broker. That's what I said. And they're like, are you licensed? And I was like, no. I was like, I'm here for broker classes. They're like, yeah, you have to be a sales agent for 3 years prior to getting your broker's license. So I was an agent at one brokerage for 7.5 years. Yep. They essentially sold. And before they sold, I actually had built a team. So I had a team. I know that I love team. Like being an entrepreneur, sometimes you could just feel like you're on an island by yourself. Everyone around you is competing with you. And then in this new world of Instagram and social media, you're looking at these agents, you're looking at these brands that they're wearing and the success that it looks like they have. Correct. And you really don't know, you know, is it real? Is it flex? Like what's happening here? So for me, I wanted a team around me where I could still feel like I'm with people, I'm helping people, we can work together and we could do it together, you know, genuinely. So I knew that that was my thing. My calling is people, helping them to pull more out of them than they can see in themselves. And that's an
art in itself.
So that's part of, I think, part of my purpose was becoming a broker. It wasn't for look at me, oh, I'm the broker. It wasn't none of that stuff. One of my closest friends will say, you don't even promote your brokerage because I'm not here for that. I'm building the people that I have around me right now. And then from there we'll grow. So my brokerage that I was with actually sold to another company. And then that was like my thing. All right, go. Okay, jump. So in July 21st was 1 year that I owned my own brokerage. I had 9 agents. And so there's 10 of us all together. I absolutely love my team. They bring so much value to my life. And I think that I do the same thing for them as well. So that's where we are today.
Absolutely. So I know people are sitting back, and I think it's your story is so common because like people are licensed. They have, you know, these expertise, this knowledge, but they don't know how, as we say, jump off the porch.
Yeah.
What do you say to that young man, young woman that's working that corporate job that's, you know, it's safe. The 1st and 15th feels good. You know it's going to be in your account 5 a.m. in the morning, but you're not fulfilled.
It's no fulfillment.
Right. So what do you say to that person who just literally needs to?
For me, I would rather go out bad trying than to have regret in 10 years saying, man, I wish I would have. I would rather you get out there and try and know that you attempted, right? Than to just sit back, because I see so many people full of potential, full of fear, right? And those two things, they're always going to keep you stagnant with no growth in life. Correct. And for me, I think about my children. I think about the generations coming after me. Like, for instance, I wanted to rent an office space. So I was like, I'm going to rent an office space. I'm looking at office spaces. And then I was like, this is so expensive. So I bought a building. I bought a building. And guess what happens when I buy a building? You're stuck. You can't just rent it and then get out of the space. Right. I own this building, but what I did was I opened up doors for my children to see more. So everything that I do and everything that you're doing, it has to go beyond you, right? Even if you don't have children of your own, you may get children, but you have people looking up to you in life. You have little cousins, you have little nieces and nephews running around needing to see greater, right? So that wanting other people to see greater and knowing that it had to start with me. So my children now, they are asking me questions about, well, how much would it cost to own the mall? Why don't you own the entire plaza, Mom? I don't understand. Why do you have a mortgage on your house? Things and conversations, and this is, my children are 11 and 14, but these conversations have been happening for years. You know what I mean? Because I'm showing them something different.
It's common now.
It's common for them. They're like, oh, when we're driving down the road, they're like, Mom, that building's for sale. Why don't we buy that? My son is like, I'm going to own 5 buildings. I'm going to own this mall. You know, so this is a mindset thing that has to shift, and it's generational. Because so many of us know how to make it day by day, check by check. But who is going to be the one to step up and say, hey, we can do this. We got this. Right. It's in you. Do it. So for me, even though that was a little victory for me, getting that building, building it out, doing all this stuff.
Victory. That's a big
It
victory.
was a big shift for the mindset of my children. And it also increased my faith. Like, I really got this.
Right.
I got a whole building. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never thought that would be my story or something that I could do financially. But here we are.
Absolutely. And that's big in itself, because it's like the barriers that you've been able to break down. Now, when by the time they're your age, it's going to be common to have 100 buildings.
Take care of me.
Like, the conversations are so different. So it's just really like that's where I'm soaking up with this, and I'm trying to do the same thing with my son. Like, every day I'm affirming him, teaching him, even though he's only 4. I said, hey, you know, we pulled up to school this morning. He's like, I don't want to go to school. I said, Jameson, you got to go to school because you got to be able to run daddy's business.
Right.
You know, and then he's like, okay. And then it kind of stuck with him. Throughout this journey, because we're here in the good parts, what's been some of your greatest successes and greatest failures in this journey?
So for me, failures, I can't say that I actually have any. My only failure was sleeping on myself for the years that I did. Right? Because anything that does not go right, I just feel like there's a reason why it didn't go right. Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe I wasn't prepared for this to go right. Maybe my heart wasn't in this like it should. Right. Or I wouldn't respond the way that would be pleasing to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Or a way that would affect my name. Because in this industry, all I have is my name. You know what I mean? So for me, I don't have failures in that, except for not realizing all of my potential. Correct. And getting around certain people that said, hey, why aren't you doing this? And then I'm like, I could be doing this. Why aren't I doing this?
Right.
So that would be a failure, not being around the right people to help cultivate the things inside of me. Sometimes you get so comfortable in your circle that all your circle is going through the same thing. We're all afraid to start our businesses. We're all afraid to move forward. We're all afraid to elevate.
And then nobody moves.
And nobody's moving, and we're all together having prayer and, you know, doing all these things, and it's the same conversation. So sometimes I had to get into a different circle and a different environment that didn't look like what I was comfortable with or used to, for them to say, what are you doing?
Right. And you pull out of you.
You're not created to be basic, you know, or mediocre. Like, you have greater in you. You have greater in you, right? But we have to be the one to believe that first before anybody else would. Some of my greatest successes would be that even in this industry, I have found so much contentment in being who I am and comfortable with who I am that I don't have to look to my left or my right, see what nobody else is doing. I don't know what other people are doing in my industry, right? Because I'm not interested. All I care about is my vision, my plan, and how I'm going to get there and how I'm going to execute it. For myself and for my team. I don't go and stop other people's things. What do you have going on? Like, all that stuff is irrelevant. You know what I mean? And so I think that knowing that the Lord is backing my business and that my faith is working in my business every day.
Give you that confidence.
It's like, I don't have to care. I don't care what y'all are doing. It's all about me executing my assignment and my purpose here in this world.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because it's like we're always looking further and see what the next person is doing, and we keep pushing the goal forward. So we achieve our level of success, but then we're looking to see what this next person is doing. We're trying to compete with that person, and I realize that it just alienates us, and it kind of gives us paralyzes us at the same time.
It does,
and it kind of throws you off. In your industry, like, how do you? So when we think about, like, not looking at other people, but we understand that competition is there. Like, how do you keep yourself innovative and keep yourself growing along with that?
I pray and I do things that I want to do and the things that I feel I'm being led to do. So I may not do A, B, and C, what A, B, and C are doing.
Correct.
But I'm being led to do F and G. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I feel. Like, this is what makes me feel most successful in my industry. It makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, because a lot of things we jump out there, we're comparing ourselves to people on our left and our right. We don't know their struggles. We don't know their budget. We don't know their finances. We don't know their lies. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We don't know their real truths. We don't know why they're doing what they're doing. All I know is me, and I focus on me. And if I am looking to the left or right, why am I so concerned about what everybody else is doing? Why am I not loving me enough and having enough faith in myself that I can do this? Whatever it is I'm called to do. Exactly. A lot of times we're looking for purpose in somebody else. Well, somebody else can be on this lane going left, which is taking you off track because you're trying to follow what they're doing. Stay in your lane.
Right.
And focus on what's for you, because what's for you is for you. if you want to be you. If you want to be them, you're going to be all over the place. Yeah. And there's no contentment in ever trying to figure out what other people are doing or what they have going on.
Wow. So, yeah, with that being said, it just shows that the level of confidence that you have is kind of just keeps propelling you to those next, endeavors to keep you going. What's next for you now that because sometimes I see it as when you attain such high goals, when you get there, like how do you keep pressing yourself forward and staying motivated?
So I have lots of goals. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of things that I want to do. I want to continue to grow my firm. I want to own multiple buildings. I'm starting to shop for my next building because I want at least 4 throughout the Atlanta area. I have 1, so I want to keep going. And I just want to grow, but I never know where the Lord wants me to go. I just know that I want to be available and ready when he says go, when the opportunity hits. But I do know that I like to stay in my lane of real estate. I don't want to be doing this business and this business because I know I can focus. And that's what people know me for. They know me as real estate. So I am going to be focusing more on agents, coaching them, training them, helping them to be as successful as they can in their businesses, just as I have.
So you being a full-time youth leader while doing this, how does that play into your lifestyle?
That's a whole other thing, but it's great. I absolutely love my kids that we get to, mentor and see. We see them on Sundays, but I have staff. So we have 4 different youth leaders that kind of step in, help. We do things with them. We go places, but we're there. The things that we go over with them on Sundays, that's just part of my daily life. If every day I'm praying, studying, praying for them, studying with them, on Sundays we come together, we give them what the Lord has given us in regards to them, their life, helping them. But since we moved further away from the church, we don't have a lot of people getting dropped off at our house. Correct. Back in the day, we would get random kids
all the time. Yeah.
Hey, they're bad. We want to put them away, so here you go. We're like, oh, hi, I'm Shana.
Right.
So that's just a natural thing for us. My husband is an educator and a coach, so that's what he does with his whole life. So kids are always going to be a part of our lives. We absolutely love, the impact, because it's funny, when they're older, they're like, Shana, we thought about this one time 6 years ago in this moment when we're doing this. So, it's impactful, and it's planting seeds of righteousness and good decision making. Every day when they leave out on Sunday, I always yell at them. They make fun of me now. I go, make good choices. And then now they're like, make good choices. That's what they're saying to each other. So that's one of my things that I always tell them. Just make a good choice. It's not always going to be the perfect choice.
Best, yeah.
It's not going to be the best, but just do your best.
Correct.
Because you can get up from any fall.
So since being an entrepreneur, I'm sure that's impacted you and your work even more of how you even, minister the word. Because now you've been able to experience more than just a normal basic standard of working a job or working something that's not fully fulfilling. But then, because for me, I just realized that the more that I'm growing as an entrepreneur is opening my mind up to the world or to the faith or, because that's true faith. I realize that a lot of people, they say they live on faith and they say they, until it's time to really stand on it. But, knowing that you're comfortable, that it really doesn't stretches your faith.
Right. It doesn't. Being comfortable never stretches your faith, right? You always have to do that thing. That moment always keeps me humble. When I got out of my car in tears, I was, if you would have saw me trembling and crying, you would have been like, what is this girl's problem? Who just died? But that moment keeps me so humble in all of my endeavors, right? And it also helps me, even being an entrepreneur, it helps me see stuff in the kids. I'll be like, yes, they're made to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know that I was made to be an entrepreneur, right? It wasn't until little seeds of things you're in trouble again. Why are you walking around? Right. Why are you doing your own thing? Why don't you listen to anybody?
Yeah,
and it was because I was made to have my own thing. So now with the kids, I'm able to see them. What do you want to do? Oh, your parents want you to be a doctor, but what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Oh, your parents want you to go to this type of school, but you want to do this. You're going to have to do what brings you the most joy and satisfaction, because all those things are already inside of you. Everything that you need to be successful in life is built up on the inside of you. Everybody else, they're only going to watch and give their opinion, but it's you that has to live with those choices.
That's big.
I have to live with the fact that my mom wanted me to be a doctor and I paid and got all these, and I don't like people. Right. I don't like blood. I don't like this. I really want to draw pictures. You get what I'm saying? Right. So a lot of people, they spend so much time pleasing other people and not focusing in or taking the time to really say, what do I want out of this life that I have one to live?
Correct. So that brings me to, what do you do for your mental health, your mental wealth?
So for me, let me tell y'all, everyone just knows me as the extrovert. Mm-hmm. That's what everyone was like, Shana, she'll talk to anybody. She talks to strangers. She does this. And I will. And I absolutely love people. And I will talk to anybody. My husband's like, you're the only one that talks to the people for an hour that don't speak English. Like, what are y'all talking about? I'm like, we have our communication flowing. I'll pull up my little translator or whatever. But for me, it's literally just prayer. And one thing I didn't know was that I do like to be by myself. Because for my whole life, I worked at a job. I was around people. Them telling me what to do all day. I'm doing it. I get home. I have my husband. Him requesting things of me. I have my children. Because I got married at 23. I have my children. You know, mom, do this, do that. So everything was for everybody else. Correct. And I didn't realize that I was slowly losing myself until I became an entrepreneur. And I was like, I get to sit here by myself in silence? Now I will go out to eat and I'll be by myself. You're like, who are you with? Myself. Right. Because sometimes I just want to be by myself. I want to think by myself. I don't want to take anyone to the bathroom. I don't want to wait on you to order your food. I just want to go there, breathe, and think about who I am and really begin to embrace the self-love that I was lacking. I was lacking that until I realized I could spend time with myself and just sit with the Lord. Like, I'll go to the park. I love going to the park, like, randomly. I keep a blanket in my trunk. I literally would be like, I just feel like some me time. I don't care what everyone else has going on. My phone will stay in the car. I will go out to the park and just sit there, look at the trees, look at nature, and just be like, this is awesome. This is beautiful. And it clears my mind and it frees that space. And it also grows me to have new thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And new elevation and new goals come in those places. But mainly just knowing that the Lord has me, and every day. Like, you know how people have their self-care days? I do self-care every day.
Within every day.
Every single day is, I take time
even
for
if
myself.
It's 20, 30 minutes.
Even if it's me pulling up in my garage before I get into the house with the kids and what's for dinner and what are we eating and we got to go to cheer and we got to go to football. I sit in my car for 30 minutes by myself. If I want to scroll today, that's what I'm doing. Right. If I want to do nothing but sit here and close my eyes, that's also what I'm going to do. But I take my me time every day. And that helps me stay peaceful. Like, most of my clients, like, if you ever look at reviews from me, they'll be like, man, she kept us, like, faith. You know what I mean? Even when things look bad, I kept everybody stable. I kept everybody calm. They're like, she never freaked out. She never panicked. That's not me, because that's not the environment that I have around me.
Yeah, that's very big. Mm-hmm. You know, some people, you get around them and the conversations feel like they're running, or the interaction just feels like it just relates it to, you feel like it was a workout. Yeah. You know, and that's when people just sometimes all over the place. And they have a level of success, but it's just like, man, that conversation was exhausting. Or that whole experience was exhausting. Yeah. But I definitely understand, just when you can be fulfilled and calm, then you can get that to others.
You can spread that.
All right, so as we bring it to a close, I live off quotes and mantras. So one of my quotes is, life is movement. If you stop, you die. Choose life. And I've been saying that for about 15, probably 18 years, since like 8th, 9th grade for me. And it used to just mean just go. Mm-hmm. And like go hard, grind. But now within that, I'm seeing that it means to take my pauses, like be willing to, you know, do a voluntarily pit stop. You know, we're on the interstate, we do a rest stop. And even though I'm moving, but that's a part of the movement. That's the part of the process of me knowing how to pause, knowing how to, you know, knowing how and when. What are one of your quotes and mantras that you live by?
I have so many, but one of my things is do it with joy. Because whatever I'm doing, I want to make sure that I have joy behind it, that's backing it. And that's one of my things to know I'm on the right track. If I can do it and I have joy with it, it doesn't matter if it looks bad or good, because joy is not based upon what's going on around you. Joy is what's inside of you, regardless. Happiness is what's going on around you.
What's happening.
Yeah, cool. Based on what's happening. But that joy that can only come from one place and one source, you know, do it with joy. So whatever I'm doing, if I'm helping a client, if I'm helping an agent, if I'm serving my husband, if I'm serving my kids, if I'm serving my community, let it be with joy. And that is what's going to be most memorable for them. You gave someone an experience unlike any other. So that's the one thing, even in my business, like my business is probably 98% referral. They're like, Shana, you're a family real estate agent. Wow. You're doing, you know what I'm saying? Because they know the experience that I'm going to give them and the level of care that I have for each and every person that trusts me with any level of business. I don't take anything for granted in those moments. Like, oh, you're going to use me. You don't have to, because there's 50,000 agents in Atlanta. Right. But the fact that you do, I take joy in it. So everything that I do it with joy, and I try to be as excellent as possible in all of those things.
Well, you definitely exuding that. You look joyful, everything. So, world, I hope you were inspired here today. Take these conversations, play it back while you're driving, while you're cleaning up. Apply it. Take a piece of her story, apply it to you. Find your quote, find your mantra, and as always, I meet you at the top because the bottom is too crowded. Peace.